I hope that you enjoyed the selection from my first volume of poetry, A Compilation of Life, The Undiscovered Country. When I started these updates, I said that I would not only use it as a complement to my acting work, but also as an opportunity to share some of my other creative interests, such as poetry, photography, and painting. So in the coming months, I'll start introducing some of the other art medium formats that are an interest to me. Now, I don't know about you, but the spring has been a great time to really get out there and attend a lot of events. So as you saw in the opening title, I'm dedicating a part of this update to Thelonious Monk, one of the less understood jazz prodigies of his time. Last month, I was fortunate enough to have attended the 50th anniversary tribute being held at Town Hall to Monk's first performance there, which was hosted by director and trumpeter John Faddis and tenor saxophonist Ralph LaLama. It was a great evening. Normally the events had been hosted at Carnegie Hall, but they are now they've transferred to Town Hall, which is a more intimate space and worked really well. Now, Monk's family was moved to New York City when he was only 3 years old. His story is similar to many African Americans who shot up from the South during that time of the Harlem Renaissance would traditionally land, especially jazz musicians or anyone interested in the arts, would land in Harlem if you're African American. His family instead landed in what's known as San Juan Hill. To those of you who are not native to New York, that would be in the West 60s. Monk's musical skills developed at an early age. In fact, he was playing the trumpet by the age of 9 when his mother discovered that he had a better penchant for the piano. Also, because of health conditions, he had a bronchial condition, which caused him to have problems with breath control, which would be needed for a wind instrument. But he flourished, obviously, at piano and was fortunate enough to attend one of the better high schools, one of the best high schools in New York City at the time, which was Stuyvesant High School. He also excelled in mathematics in addition to arts, but obviously the piano he excelled at more than anything else. And he was actually, he ended up leaving high school before graduating because he was offered an opportunity to go on the road with a minister who realized the importance and value of including a live performance by a band to the congregation in order to draw a youth crowd and to keep the congregation engaged. So he started developing those skills on the road very early, and eventually would return within a year or so back to New York, where he started competing in amateur competitions and winning some of those competitions, including the Apollo Theater, as well as Minton's Playhouse. He contributed to the family income and helped support himself by playing at the local Baptist church, in addition to rent parties, which many musicians would do to help support their income. He played whatever gigs you could get, but he happened to be fortunate enough to build his career and win several competitions. It was also during this period, during the Renaissance, between the 30s, the late 30s and early 40s, he started developing his individual talent, in particular his famous stride hand technique, which you'll see in a video clip that I have for you of him actually performing in a brief number. So he was fortunate enough and thrived enough and was surrounded by enough noted artists who were up and coming as well as he, and some who were already established, to be influenced by them, to learn from them, and to collaborate with them. His closest friend and fellow pianist, Bud Powell, was one of them. Kenny Clarke, Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker, Max Roach were all his colleagues and peers during this time period, in which he would come up with some of his more modern and most noted compositions. For example, Round Midnight, Epistrophy, I Mean You, and for example, Iambic Pentameter. So those are some of the most noted compositions he came up with, and when he was really developing his individual style, which he became known for. This period, by the way, that I'm referring to is referred to as the bebop evolution. That was a new genre of music that was coming in during his time in the late 30s and early 40s. He also played, he was one of the first record labels he played on was Blue Note. They hosted him while he was establishing himself, and he was refining his skills and learning to collaborate and bring in other band members. He would eventually land on Columbia, one of the latter record labels that he performed on, with artists such as Count Basie, Art Blakey, Lou Donaldson, Lucky Thompson. And again, I have a video clip for you that'll come up in just a few minutes. You don't need to go away or click to another link or anything. It'll be at the end of this presentation, very brief. And the number's called Monk Blue. It's really cool to see his stride hand at work. In addition, you'll see some playbills of some of the other art outings that I had over the last few months, some of the events I attended. For example, Churchill's new play, Drunk Enough to Say I Love You, which was playing at the Public Theater a little over a month ago. It's a two-character, 45-minute allegory about the seduction of Britain by the United States. It uses juxtaposition of two characters, one a little older, seasoned, and one very young, impassioned, naive somewhat. So they sort of have a verbal sparring throughout this 45-minute non-intermission play. Minimal setting, the only prop was a couch, and it was used very cleverly in that as the play progressed in the 45-minute span, they used the couch on different vertical levels, so it kept rising at different levels as the intensity of the play moved forward. It was very clever, and if you know Carol Churchill's work, more recently she has another play that ran in Pittsburgh while I was there. Actually, it was being mounted, called A Number. Very intelligent writing, very poignant, very politically and socially aware. So I really enjoyed the evening. The public never disappoints. I also, the last spring season of New York City Ballet, I was able to attend a few of their performances. They've dedicated a total of 33 programs to the 90th birthday, a tribute to Jerome Robbins for his immense contributions to the theater dance world as choreography. I was able to see a lot of his numbers are being accompanied by the work of George Balanchine. Beautiful performances I've seen so far, so if you get a chance, do check it out. Also at the Performing Arts Theater at Lincoln Center, they also are hosting an exhibit of some of his rehearsals on video and some of the scores that he worked with and some of his costuming of his performances. So that's something that's definitely worth popping in if you have a chance to take a look at that. In addition, I attended the New England Symphony Ensemble at Carnegie Hall, and there was a great composition conducted by John Rutter. Some of the evening's numbers comprised Requiem Aeternam, Sanctus, Agnus Dei. And so that's basically what I've been up to for the last month or so. Some of the outings I've attended, and of course, I hope that you're able to get out and take advantage of them as well. Now, politically, over the last couple updates, I've been updating you all on what's going on in case you haven't been able to keep up with Zimbabwe and the presidential election that's going on. So in Johannesburg, over the last 5 days, before Zimbabwe's presidential runoff election, the opposition leader, Morgan Tsvangirai, announced Sunday that he was pulling out of the race because armed forces backing President Mugabe have made it clear that anyone who voted for Mr. Tsvangirai faces possibly being killed. So Mr. Tsvangirai, who leads the opposition movement for Democratic Change, or MDC, said that he was unwilling to ask the party's supporters to go to the polls on Friday when that vote will cost them, in fact, their lives. So again, that's a little of what I've been up to, and I hope that you'll come back, and I hope that you enjoy the video that you're about to see with, of Thelonious Monk at work. So that's my gift to you, and enjoy the rest of your spring, and welcome summer.